Guys, welcome back to the series here, this Masterclass series, all about how to build and scale $1 million a month. You heard that right, a month, not a year, a month wholesaling business. This is a really unique Masterclass I'm doing with Rob Wensley. Rob, thank you again for being here. And this is video 3.
Yeah.
It's going awesome. I'm really excited about the content we've done so far, the progression we're making from, how to actually create $1 million a month business. I hope you guys that are watching this are getting a lot of value. We are making this series into a playlist here on the channel, so I'll put that link below, but you can look for it as well. But we're gonna put all these videos in this series, in that playlist, so you can access this. Again, watch these in order. I think you'll get the most out of it if you do that, and then go back and watch them again. This is information and content that is, I think, at a really high level that you don't see much or is being talked about much the way that Rob is breaking it down for us. So guys, this is really next level stuff, because it's not only is it very detailed, but it's coming from Rob's perspective, which is working with the top wholesalers in the country. And some of the biggest players in the country you've never even heard of. Like, they're not on social media, they're not on YouTube, they're not doing interviews. They're just plowing away in their businesses and they're putting up massive numbers. And so Rob is close to these people. He knows exactly what they're doing, how they're building their businesses, because Rob is the owner and founder of InvestorLift, which is the largest marketplace for wholesale deals. And so he's bringing a perspective that most people don't even get to see or hear about, which is amazing because we're bringing it to you. So whatever level you're at, this is the thing I want to say, and we say it again and again in the series. I don't care if you're working on your first deal, or if you're doing 3 to 5 and you're trying to go to the next level, or if you're doing 10 or 15, or you're doing 100,000 a month. Most people could do some work to get to the $1 million a month level. And whether you're ready for that, like next or not, it doesn't matter, because the principles and the way that we're giving this information, it's designed for you to start from 0 and go to $1 million a month. And that's what I love about the series we're doing. So again, thank you, Rob. It's going amazing. Love everything that we're doing.
Awesome. All right. So guys, at this point in your investor journey, you've closed your first deals, you've replaced your 9 to 5 income, you've then gone full-time, and then you've replaced yourself where now you have a team of maybe a couple VAs, maybe an acquisition manager, maybe a disposition manager.
Maybe you're at the 5 deals a month.
Yeah.
How many deals a month conceivably can you do, like naturally, or most wholesalers, if you've got an acquisition manager, a dispo manager, and maybe a VA or 2 VAs?
It's really going to depend on the team.
And a TC, a transaction coordinator.
It's going to depend on the team, but like 3 to 5,
yeah,
that should be like pretty normal.
You should be able to consistently do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Now, with a really killer team, with killer leads, you can actually do a lot more. And we're going to get into that a little bit in this video, some of the numbers that people have hit with small teams.
I'm excited about that because I'm a anti-overhead kind of person. Like, I hate bloated overhead in a company.
Yes.
All my businesses are lean, they're mean.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of fluff. We trim the fat. Like, every month I have a trim the fat meeting with my bookkeeper. And so the kiss of death is usually overhead. Yeah, for a lot of businesses. So that's great.
Yeah, keep your overhead low. All right, so the first thing you got to do, and this is what I always tell people, is like, if you want to get to consistently 100K plus per month, so that's what we'll talk about now, is like consistently 100K plus a month, where every month, like a bad month is 100K, but like, let's get into the hundreds of thousands.
So this video is the $1 million a year, 100K a month.
Progression up to it.
Okay, gotcha.
Progression. Now we're now building $1 million a year business is what we're looking at.
And this is still the top, 5% of the business?
Probably, top 5%, I would say.
Yeah, so you're in the 5% club at 100 grand a month, probably. Definitely. In the industry.
Yeah, now it's not difficult, okay? The biggest shift you gotta make, you gotta get to this as fast as possible, is you gotta shift from outbound marketing to inbound marketing. Okay, when you first get started, we talked about this a little bit in the last few videos, you have all the time in the world, but you have no money. So what do you gotta do? You gotta text, you gotta call, you gotta do the time intensive, low capital intensive activities.
Follow up 12 times, all that, yeah.
And cash conversion cycles that sometimes are 180 days.
Yeah, or longer.
Or longer, yeah. Sometimes leads come back from 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone has to go through that journey. But where the real money is getting to inbound marketing, and you want to get there as quickly as possible. So there's a million marketing channels out there, right? They all work. You got TV, radio, billboards, banded signs,
direct
texting,
mail,
calling, direct mail, like
ringless voicemail. Yeah,
ringless voicemail. There's a million of them. They all work, but they all have a different return on ad spend. They all have different cash conversion cycles, and they all have different degrees of scalability.
And remember, guys, if you don't remember from video, I think it might have been one, Rob said the two most important metrics are your return on ad spend,
yes,
and your cash conversion cycle, meaning how quickly do you get the cash back that you're spending?
Yeah.
Like, what's that cycle look like? Those
That's
are if you understand those and you manage those two well, there's sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're doing texting and calling, you're going to have like decent return on ad spend, but your cash conversion cycle is going to be garbage. It's going to take you it takes a long time between when you spend the money and when you get it back in. That's number one. But number two, it doesn't scale really well, right? So if I have a team of cold callers or texters and I want to double my leads in the next 30 days, what do I got to do? I got to buy twice as much data, skip trace twice as much data, manage twice as much data, hire twice as many people, manage twice as many people. It is really hard to scale that, right? It's really hard to scale texting, cold calling, channels like that. And then these other channels like TV, radio, they tend to have really low return on ad spend. I have seen some exceptions where people have done well with TV, but in general, like radio I see is normally negative. Billboards is definitely negative. TV can work, but it's not super scalable. So there's one channel that every single company on InvestorLift that's doing over $100,000 a month is typically putting at least 80% of their budget in this one channel. And you know what that channel is?
PPC.
Yeah, PPC.
You guys catch that? The top wholesalers in the country are spending the majority of their marketing budget on Google and Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Yeah. PPC is pay per click, right? So they're spending money to market online in front of people.
Absolutely. And the reason for that is once you get dialed in, the return on ad spend is very predictable. Very, very predictable. If I got my accounts dialed in, I know every dollar I spend, I get like $7, $8 back. It's very, very consistent on quality. But number two, super scalable, because if, let's say I know it costs me $200 per lead, okay? And I want to get 10 leads a day. All you got to do is set my budget to $2,000 a day.
Yeah.
If I want to get 20 leads a day, just set my budget to $4,000 per day, and it's like ordering sushi.
Yeah.
You know? Now you're going to have some diminishing returns as you increase your ad spend, right? But every other channel also has diminishing returns as you increase your ad spend. But the diminishing returns on Google Ads and PPC in general are a lot less than these other channels. So you might see a little bit of a fall off as you increase your ad spend. But there's also a lot of other things that go on, like where you get more data. And with that more data, you can actually optimize the ads and make them even more efficient. So sometimes you can actually have positive loop going as you're spending more. So it's the channel. Like if you're running a business for scale, you're running paid ads online.
Now, let me ask you this question. Are a lot of these top wholesalers, are they using agencies or are they in-house doing their
So if you want to
PPC?
maximize your return on ad spend, the guys that get, so we have some guys that, the Holy Grail is 10x plus ROAS return on ad spend. So
10x. So
10x. You plug $1 in, you get 10 back.
You get 10 back.
If you're doing that, you're turning money at 10x, and you're doing that in like 30 to 60 days cash conversion cycle. Think about it. You got a money printing machine. You look at the top hedge fund managers in the world, guys like Ray Dalio. You know, their hedge funds might make 15, maybe 20% in a year return, and everyone, like, you can't even give them money.
Yeah,
like
they've turned it off. Yeah,
like you can't even invest with them. They won't take your money unless you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. We have guys that are 10xing their money.
Yeah,
in under 2 months. Think about that annualized. If you keep on turning that money.
Yeah, six, 8 times a month, a year. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you get rolling on Google Ads, you might be getting 2 or 3x return on ad spend when you first get started because the account hasn't been trained up yet. But if you've got 2 or 3x, guess what? You spend a little bit more, optimize a little bit more. Before you know it, a few months later, you're at 5x, and you're at 6x, and you're at 7x. You just kind of work your way up. So it's a really, really powerful channel. Now, people always ask me, the natural question is, okay, so I was going to say, finish the last thought. The guys that are getting 10x plus, typically they have someone managing in-house.
In-house managing their account.
If you want to really maximize your return. Like, the reason why I think that is because there's a direct feedback loop between the guy running the ads and the sales team. So if they're sitting in the same room together and he makes a change on the account, and also the sales team is like, hey, dude, leads this week are garbage. He knows, okay, that change didn't really work out that well. Or if he runs a new campaign, everyone's like, dude, these leads are fire.
Yeah.
You get that close feedback loop, and they're focused just on that one business, and they're in it 24/7 all day. Now, if you're doing 3 to 5 deals a month, then it's not going to make sense for you to have someone in-house manage it. So if you're really tech savvy, you could kick it off on your own. But probably for most people, the best bet would be to have an agency manage it. I think Brandon Bateman probably has the best reputation. Are you familiar with Brandon? Yeah, he probably has the best reputation for managing accounts. He probably does more accounts in InvestorLift than anyone else. So he's a good guy. Good. Shout out to Brandon Bateman. He really knows his stuff. So you're probably going to have an agency. That's probably going to be the way to go initially. And then as you get bigger, maybe eventually
you bring it in-house. What I've seen is most people, they'll start with an agency and then they'll bring it in-house. The challenge with an agency, in my experience, is for an agency to be successful, they try to grow, which means now you're given like an account rep.
Yeah.
And that account rep is a trained employee making a wage, and we always start out with
starts off great
and then it ends bad. Like that's been my experience over and over and again. Is we start out great, nice song and dance, maybe we get really good attention, and then within 30, 60 days we're assigned to an account rep, and then
I've burned through at least 10 PPC managers in my career. It's pretty typical.
And so then you just end up trying to figure it out yourself, which now you own it, you understand it, and like you said, you're quick to adapt with changes and good feedback loop with your team.
Absolutely. Now, the next thing people always ask me is, should I spend my money on Google or should I spend it on Facebook? The answer
Great question.
is both, but you have to use them together. Okay, I'm going to drop some fire here that like if you understand this is really how to make PPC really sing. A huge mistake that people make is they take a bunch of their budget and they drop it all on cold traffic on Facebook. Why? Because on Google, it's going to cost me $150, $200, $300, maybe $400 for one call. On Facebook, I can get a lead for $5 all day long.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with the Facebook leads is they're garbage, complete garbage, because there's no intent. Like the reason why we're shifting from outbound marketing to inbound is because we're trying to get higher intent leads.
Yeah.
Right? When someone searches how to sell my inherited home fast on Google, that lead has tons of intent. They have a problem that we specifically can solve for them. So people are going on Google to solve problems. People are going on Facebook to kill time. So the Facebook traffic doesn't have intent. And then also you'll get a bunch of leads where people are like, it's just people have no idea, like they're just dumbasses. They're like, I'm actually looking for an apartment to rent. You guys don't rent apartments? Like
we have on Facebook, not so much on Google, but on Facebook, where we'll literally call an inbound.
Yeah.
And they'll say, I never filled that form out. We're like, you just did 5 minutes ago. What do you mean you didn't? Like you just did.
Yeah.
How do you not know what you were like? Or are you just filling out stuff on Facebook without knowing what you're like? It's the weirdest thing.
So I will say something that's controversial. I think that running Facebook ads to cold traffic for our space specifically, where we're not looking for horses, we're looking for unicorns.
Yeah.
I think it's a complete waste of money. Now I'll tell you how you can make it work though.
What about custom audiences and all of that?
Okay, so here's how we do make it work. When you run your Google ads, if you have a good, highly converted landing page, at InvestorLift, we give all our users one for free that loads faster than the other seller site in the world. Loads in like 0.3 seconds. That's huge because Google will actually charge you. If you have a slow site, they'll charge you triple to show up in the results. Wow. So we'll pay a third of our competitors and still take the top spot.
That's awesome.
Load speed and total time to interactive is what you want to look at, and then mobile experience. You can actually, here's a side tip, just go on Google and search Google Page Speed Insights. You'll get to a page, click on the first result, type in your website, and then click Analyze. It'll give you a score from 0 to 100. And I'm going to tell you, most of you, when you run your sites, you're going to be at like 40, 50, 60. If your site is at 40, 50, 60 out of 100, there's no point even starting on Google Ads.
Really?
You'll be paying, because the InvestorLift guys are going to crush you, because we're all scoring 100.
So how do you, say again, what do they do to find their score?
Go on Google, just search for Google Page Speed Insights.
Page
Speed
Okay,
Insights.
Google Page Speed Insights.
Go on that website. It's a Google tool, and you put in your website there, click Analyze, and Google will give you a score. Look at that total time to interactive. That's how long it takes your website to load on the average device, and then look at the score that you get out of 100. Okay, so page speed, you got page speed and mobile responsiveness before you even start.
And what's good? What's a good score?
A good score, well, 100 would be a really good score, but 90 and above is like,
anything 90 solid. Is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're in like 40s, 50s, like you're just pissing money away.
Okay.
We've taken guys that had like carrot sites, which I love. Carrot's great for SEO, and you should have an SEO strategy.
Yeah.
So you probably should, but you shouldn't be sending paid traffic to carrot site, right? You need a specific lander with no links. Just enter your address, call to action, boom, specifically for your paid traffic. Okay, so that's a side note. Now, assume you got your fast page, you hire an agency, they start running ads to your page. That website is probably going to convert 1 in 10 leads. Now Google is going to charge you per click. So you might be paying $20 every time someone clicks on your ad off of a keyword like sell my house fast or how to sell an inherited home, how to sell a hoarder home, whatever. Every time someone clicks, you're paying $20. And so if 1 in 10 enters their information, your cost per lead is $200.
Yep.
Okay. Now and people are like, oh, cost per lead $200, that's great. But we only got 1 of those people's contact information. The other 9, we spent the money on the click, which means we spent the money finding out that they had high intent.
Because they clicked.
Because they clicked off a high intent keyword.
Yeah.
But they didn't convert. Maybe the mailman came to the door. Maybe the dog's barking. They got distracted. Maybe they weren't ready yet in terms of timing. They're just like thinking about selling their house, but like the idea is just coming into their head. They're not quite committed. There's a million different reasons why those other 9 did not convert. But we paid the money to find out that they have intent. So here's what we do. We take the Facebook pixel from Facebook ads, which is a little snippet of code. We install that on our website. This is like, you ever go on shopping on a website, and then
they follow you.
I'm a big watch guy. I'll go shopping on a website, and then that pixel fires on that watch website, and then for the next 6 months, I'm just seeing like watch ads, So
it's called retargeting.
Retargeting. Yeah. So we take that Facebook pixel. Then what we do is,
but the ad was on Google.
We ran an ad on Google. We took them to our website. Now we pixel them for Facebook. Which also works for Instagram as well. And now we're loading them into a Facebook and Instagram audience.
Yeah.
And then when we run our Facebook, Instagram ads, you don't run it to cold traffic. You run it to retarget, to go grab those other 9.
Which is actually cheap traffic too. Retargeting is cheap.
Way cheap. Google will also allow you to do retargeting. Okay, so search ads are the most expensive by far. When you're paying per click off of that, really expensive. We're also going to put the Google Pixel on. And then you know what's really cheap off of Google? Display ads. Display ads are dirt cheap.
That's on the side, like the banners.
When you go on a website, you see a banner somewhere. So you're also going to load them into your Google retargeting audience. So now as soon as someone hits your site, for the next 4, 5, 6 months, every website that they go to, every Facebook page they go to, you're showing up. You look like a Fortune 500 company, but just for the handful of people that we know have a problem we can solve. And the cost of those leads, typically what I've seen is typically about 60% of the cost of a Google ad lead.
The original filled out the form.
Yeah, so if we're paying $100 on a search lead, our display leads are going to be around 60.
Yeah.
So a huge savings.
Cuts your expend way down to still generate leads.
Absolutely. So that's the way to use Facebook with Google. I don't think it makes sense to go cold traffic. I know some guys do it on cold traffic, but you're gonna have to go through like 50 or 100 leads to find it. Like one deal. It's just, again, we're talking about scaling. If you're just trying to find one deal, sure. But if you want to really scale, that's the way to set it up.
Do you take those warm leads, maybe that don't convert, and also upload those into an audience, like a Facebook audience, and say, find me like people this? Or
I think all those things,
those are all just experiment
extra things. With them.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so you can do lookalike audiences. So you can take your retargeted traffic and then create lookalike audiences that look like those people. There's a bunch of different things. Ultimately, what we got to do is just test them, run A/B tests, and see what works, and then pick your winners, double down on those, shift budget. This is all. We're getting into scientific wholesaling, where it's just like we're making small little changes, running tests, seeing what works better, going with the winner, then running another test. That's the real secret to really. If you want to get to $1 million, now at this stage, we're not doing this cold calling and stuff. We're now doing scientific, data-driven marketing.
Yeah.
And that's where the business gets really sexy.
And this is where testing, tracking, like knowing exactly what's working down to the metrics.
Yes.
So that you can then put more money here, take money from there and put it here. Like that's how you start to really scale on a big level.
Absolutely. If you ran a split test every week, think about that's 52 split tests per year. By the way, if you guys don't know what a split test is, it's where you take let's give it a simple example. You have a website and the color of the call to action button is blue. And we come up with the idea that, hey, you know what? Maybe it would be more visible if we change that button color to orange. Maybe more people would click on it. So what we do is we actually run 2 versions of our site simultaneously, one with the blue button, one with the orange button. Half of our traffic sees the blue button, half of our traffic sees the orange button. And we see which one gets more leads, it makes us more money. And if the orange one makes us more money, then we kill off the blue one, and now orange is our winner. That's now our new base control. And
split testing is like one thing at a time, because if you do 2 or 3 changes, you're not going to know what change made the difference. Yeah. So it's a slow, tedious process of constant testing, tracking. Yeah. Same with lists, like certain lists, maybe certain markets, all those things you test and tweak.
Absolutely. But this is the holy grail to get to 100K a month consistently, be $1 million a year wholesaler, is you just got to get into digital marketing, shift from outbound to inbound, get there as fast as possible. Because when you have consistent leads coming in from digital sources, think about how simple your team is. My favorite team structure is 2 acquisitions, 2 dispositions, and 1 deal desk.
And the deal desk again is the final
numbers.
Yeah, he's looking at exit, looking at entry, making sure the spread's right, and go. Yeah.
Now you're gonna have some VAs that support them, but that's the core team.
A couple VAs, because you always because there's so many simple low-level activities that VAs can do.
Scheduling photos, things like that. Any $4 an hour jobs.
We have a full-time VA, and all they do is order the photos.
But your core team, you got 5 guys like that, and you're pumping high-quality, high-intent leads to them. Think about how this works. You're getting 10, 15, 20 leads coming in a day. You got your 2 acquisition reps. They can handle that. Keep in mind, they're going to be following up with everything that came in before, but they're getting 5 or 10 new leads, and they're going to close on 1 in 10 of those. All they got to do is just find out, do they have an equity and intent? If so, they fire it over to the deal desk. The deal desk is just sitting there all day, analyzing stuff, making sure the numbers are perfect on every deal.
Yep.
Okay, that's all he's doing. And he fires that back, and they get on the phone, and they know they got to be under X number. And if they can get under X number, they sign the contract. Immediately fire it over to Dispo. Dispo has a VA go out, schedule photos, videos, loads it up in an InvestorLift.
Boom.
And then fires it up
with a buy now button.
Buy now button. And is just on the phone all day, negotiating with buyers, getting those properties moved.
Well, just think about it. If you can convert 1 in 10 and you're getting 10 a day,
that's a deal a day,
or 5 between each acquisitions, and one of those is converting, and that's 1 a day, that's 30 a month. You're hitting those numbers now. You're in the $1 million+ numbers.
The key is to keep it simple. Here's a mistake that people make. I've seen so many teams do this. They start trying to monetize too much of their leads. Okay? So they start trying to introduce like different exit strategies and stuff. Like, oh, we're going to do creative finance. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. All that stuff is awesome. And yeah, you can monetize way more deals. Okay? But now you got to train your team on all of that.
Creative isn't easy either.
It's not easy. It's really complicated.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're a small mom and pop shop and you're just replacing your income, like 100%, like do creative, do all that. But if you're trying to turn and burn a deal a day, and then also you need to train your acquisitions on that, you got to train your dispositions on that, all of that, it's going to jam up your sales process. And then also then becomes a crutch where the salespeople, if they just push a little bit harder, they could have done the wholesale assignment, but they use it as a crutch. Okay. Novations, I love novations. If I was up in Seattle, I'd be novating all day long. There's certain markets where like novations make so much sense, but you know novations due to your cash conversion cycle, stretch it way up. And you know novations due to the amount of activity you have to do on a deal. It's way 10 times more work to go novate a deal than it's a wholesale deal.
Yeah, and novation simply means that you're getting the seller to agree to extend the sale until you find a buyer later, which typically means MLS.
Yeah.
Now you're going retail. You're extending your sales cycle, right? You're introducing a lot of things. Typically, there's a value add that you need to do to hit a higher number. It's just like creative where, well, it is creative. I mean, novations are a creative technique. But I mean, I teach a ton of how to take dead leads that are over, seller wants too much, turn it into creative, wholesale that, still make money. Again, what Rob is specifically saying here is when you scale past the 5 a month or to get to the $1 million a year and eventually $1 million a month, you have to streamline this business to where it is so brain dead simple that you're not introducing any type of complicated formulas, any type of complicated strategies, nothing that takes any high skill set for people to like get their head around. No, nothing unique and custom. Creative is all unique and custom. Everybody's situation is going to be different. The loans, the interest rates, you know, how your balloons and all of it. That's all awesome, amazing strategies. But if you're watching this because you want to build a machine, then you need to be thinking McDonald's, not mom and pop, you know, boutique. It's not boutique, it's McDonald's. And this is what you're talking about.
McDonald's model. And there's a time and place for all these different strategies. And there are a lot of our biggest guys on InvestorLift do use novations on a segment of their deals. But the problem is when guys go all novations, you know, they crush their cash conversion cycle, or they go all creative, and then now it's just impossible to, like, when you're trying to do this much volume, it's impossible to manage.
Or introducing fix and flips. Like the biggest temptation that wholesalers do, and I'm guilty of this, is you're like, man, this one, let's keep this one. And you keep this one.
That is the biggest mistake I see.
Let's keep this one. Nothing wrong with keeping that one. It could be an amazing deal. You can make 150 grand, whatever. You can make all this money fixing and flipping it. But then all of a sudden you interrupted your machine of pumping out volume. You've interrupted that. You've introduced complication, and now you're not going to be hitting that model that you're trying to create.
The only way you can do that is you have to have another business. You have a second business, and that second business
run entirely by another. Yeah, totally.
That's the guys that do it successfully. You got to understand, I have two companies here. If you try to mix the two together, again.
So what that would look like is, because that's my way of looking at it, is you pull that deal out. Now your wholesaling company, it's like out of sight, out of mind. They're not involved anymore. Keep them doing their thing.
Assign it to yourself.
That's right. Yep. And you've got a different team now doing that. So that's where even also keeping like buy and holds, you know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to build a portfolio or do some fix and flips. Again, we're talking about how to create a massive engine wholesaling. And the top players that are doing high volume, million a month numbers, they're not doing all these complicated things. They're not doing creative. They're not doing fix and flips. They're not doing buy and holds. They're just turning these deals.
It's a marketing company to spin off cash. That's it. Cash cow.
That's it.
That cash cow can feed other companies, but we're going to focus on building that cash cow. In the next video, we're gonna talk about picking markets.
I love this one. This is gonna be huge because this makes a big difference.
Huge.
So when we talk about that, guys, if you wanna learn more about the InvestorLift platform, this is the #1 marketplace in the country. The top wholesalers are putting their deals there, and the most active, best cash buyers are buying on InvestorLift. So it is the best place to do that. I'll put a link below if you want to get on the platform to put your deals if you're wholesaling at any type of a level. If you're not yet there, that's okay too. You can actually dispo your deals through me. I'm a cartel level member of InvestorLift, which means I have the highest access to the most buyers, and I will JV with you on your deal and get your deal moved. Now, clearly it's got to be a deal. If it's not, we're going to tell you it's not. But there's a link below for that as well if you want to JV deals with me. Also, be sure to follow Rob. I'm going to put his social media below in the description below too, so you can see what he's doing, follow him, learn from him. The stuff that he's doing in the industry is not just mind-blowing, it's life-changing. And so I'm grateful to be a part of that, Rob. Also, be sure to check out the playlist. We're going to be adding, as time goes on, more and more videos into this playlist, and hopefully give you an entire course, masterclass on how to take this business to $1 million a month, if that's what your goal is. If it's not, you'll learn a ton anyway to, just improve what you're doing. But if you really want to go to that level, this is the series for you. Again, thanks for everything you guys do. By the way, leave a comment and let us know your biggest takeaways, maybe things that you want to know more about. I know you've touched on some advanced stuff, so there's going to be a lot of questions. Let us know. Maybe, Rob, we can do some follow-ups on questions. Absolutely. Or some lives or whatever. Yeah. We live close by here in Puerto Rico, so it won't be hard to do. But again, let us know that feedback, and we'll see you on the next video.